Welcome back to Bonded by Bravo. I'm your host, Amy, joined with my co-host, Dom Jen, because why would I say it another way?
I know. I love that for me. I really love that has kind of stuck around. Like, I never had a nickname growing up, and this feels the closest I've ever been to it, and I really like it.
I'm trying to think of who started it.
I feel like it was just you and Joe.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Yeah.
I honestly think it wasn't. I don't think I'm that clever.
Well, it's my Instagram handle, so.
No,
I was like, that. I guess I started.
I know that. This is what I really want to do, but because of my ring light, I can't. Oh.
How are we feeling today?
You know, I'm actually I'm really grumpy.
Oh, okay. This is a turn from last week.
Yeah. That's probably why I'm really grumpy. I feel like I got a taste of being an actress last week, and like it was like all in my feels, and then everybody over the last week, like you follow up with the agents and managers that you got to meet, and we're all in this group chat, and everybody's just posting about like all the meetings they're getting from the agents and managers, and I'm just sitting here with nothing.
Damn, that would make, that's grumpy. I would be grumpy too.
And it's so hard to be in an industry that like I have no
connect. Yeah.
There's no control. I have no control over whether or not I'm going to be successful. A lot of people are going to be like, yes, you do. You have control, et cetera, et cetera. But like
manifest that shit.
Right. Like realistically, like I went in there and I did really good work, like did great work, but it doesn't actually matter, because what matters is, do they need someone who looks like me as a fit? Do they need a curly haired, ethnically ambiguous girl with blue eyes, a thick chick for their lineup?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And if they don't, then it doesn't matter if I'm a good actor.
Yeah.
And that sucks. And I wasn't expecting to talk about this right now, but it just came out.
I feel like I've heard sort of some version of this sentiment on Armchair Expert, where they talk about like, after a while you do realize like, okay, it's not personal. It's just, I was not the image for what they're going for. All acting abilities to the side.
And it's kind of crazy to think that, like, you know, they always say, when luck and talent collide, that's when. And it's like, I'm just trying to get an agent to get me a gig.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to get. It's just everything.
Do you feel like it's easier or harder to do what you're doing in New York or LA?
I don't know.
Like LA just picks up people like so regularly. Like I feel like we're always seeing new faces out of these like sitcoms and pilot season and all of that.
What was interesting, because I asked that question and they said that there's a lot of money being put into New York right now. I don't know if you've heard, but Netflix is building this huge studio in New Jersey.
I did hear that, yes.
And they're kind of now calling New Jersey, like North Jersey, the new East Hollywood, they're calling it. Okay. So there's potential, but ultimately, like, yes, the studios are in Los Angeles. And I think like 10 years ago, it was probably more cut and dry. But after the strike, the industry is so different. After COVID, the industry is so different. And a lot of managers and agents are just saying like, we're coming into a new world. And even with AI, we're coming into a new world of, you know, is AI going to be taking over voiceovers? Is AI going to be working in different parts of the industry that usually were where an actor were?
Did you see what Bill Gates said about AI recently?
I don't know. Is it scary?
I'm
the worst. I try not to follow the news.
Good. It's really good for you.
Stupid. I know it's stupid.
No, I think it's genius. I always say I'm going to not follow, and then it's just like, my TV, it's one of these smart TVs, and when you turn it on, it just has like one of the news channels sort of on like a repeat. So it's like a 20-minute segment. I mean, normally I'm changing it fast enough, but if I'm like making coffee and I'm just like kind of dicking around, whatever, and like taking the dog down, it's on. And so I'm like seeing it. There was one day though, I was in the bathroom and I like was like, I heard it and I was like, I gotta turn it off. I like freaked out. I like got out of the shower. I was like, turn this shit off. This is too much. This is too much. But anyway, the Bill Gates thing was, he said in like 10 years that AI is going to take over 10 years, by the way, 10 years. That's like tomorrow. The jobs of, I think it was like doctors, which was,
maybe
it was
they
like,
could do a better job. No.
Yeah, I guess you probably have a lot to say on that.
Don't get me
it was
started.
like 3 professions.
Technology is going to be the biggest one.
It's crazy. I'm like, maybe I'm safe in my bartending role.
Because everybody without the jobs is going to come to the bar.
Exactly.
No,
and it's like people are so desperate for like interaction. Did you see that show about that show Adolescence on Netflix that's getting a lot of traction?
I heard it's so good.
I heard it's good. I can't watch it, I don't think. It looks a little heavy.
It looks really heavy. The one thing that I've heard a lot of people talking about is how it's done in one take. And that's really interesting. Like if you think of each episode is just one full take where the camera's just following from room to room. And if you're not like, think of like the biggest one take that you could think of would be, do you know that scene? Are you a Goodfellas person?
I mean, I've seen it enough, but also Seth Rogen was just on talking about this exactly.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So one take is literally the camera doesn't stop. And it's like if you were to set up, the thought of even being part of one as an actor, the anxiety.
Because you have to get it right away, right?
Every time. It's like a choreographed dance with a camera. Think about it that way, that like, I'll hand you this lip gloss. And if I don't hand you the lip gloss at the right time, we have to reset the entire
Oh, that's a lot of pressure.
So much pressure. But anyways, apparently Adolescence was shot each episode is one take, which is actually insane to think about. It's insane to think about. That's
I think it's his first acting gig.
And I just think like the pressure of that. If you fuck up one of your lines in the first 10 minutes, imagine it's then the 30th minute and you fuck it up. They have to reset.
No, I'd rather fuck up the first minute.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's like, yeah.
I don't like this. Can't. I like my.
But that's one of the reasons I really
don't know how you do any of the stage stuff. Like, I'm not kidding. Even the other day I just am so ill-equipped for any like public speaking. I was at my friend's baby shower and they did something before for just like the closest friends. It's like it's called a mother's blessing. It's like an old Navajo tradition. And it was really beautiful, but I was like, did not understand the assignment. And like you're supposed to give something to the mother, not like you do like a little gift, and all her friends are so wonderful, but they're like a little like it's like hippie chicks, and that's great. I love that. But beautiful handwritten letter, like all these things you have to speak and say like God. Yes, like give something, like say like say something about her and to her, and just like what you hope for her birth and this and that and whatever, this new life that she's gonna have. I was sweating. Like I was like, just skip me. And like her aunt like
I said, just skip me.
I didn't. I mean, I did it first. I was like, okay, just to be full disclosure, I did not understand the assignment. But I like ended up whatever. I said something pretty quickly, and I was like, and we'll go ahead and hand it over to the next. And her aunt was after me and goes, so happy to follow you. But her other cousin goes, like, and I said, like, I didn't like whatever the assignment, and her cousin goes, what, you've never been to a Navajo blessing before? So we had some comic relief, but I was chugging that Prosecco. I was like, and this was just in front of like 6 girls who at a bit, yes. And I could not even handle that. And I remember thinking right after, I was like, Amy just gets up on stage and like does this. This is bananas. To me, this is like, I would be taking the entire script of beta blockers every day.
Yeah, but like for you, that gives you like that. And for me, it's like, oh, I need to write a last minute speech. Let me do it.
I will say,
don't challenge me with a good time.
I will say, like, at the shower, like, I didn't know that many people, but I knew some, like, but not well, you know, I had met in passing and stuff, but I was going to text you after and be like, my Amy game face is so on today. Like, I was on. I was like, good. We're going to crack jokes. We're going to make, like, we're all standing around this table. You know, when people are, like, getting food and it's, like, kind of awkward. Everyone's just kind of standing. And I, like, of course, had to do a whole bit about this. And I was just like, what am I doing?
Yeah, but that's what you do.
I got laughs. You know, I got lots of laughs that day.
Like, do not challenge me with an elevator. I'll have everyone... Like, oh, you need some elevator chit chat? Here I go.
Yeah, I was around the table getting food. I was just like firing on all cylinders.
Too, you know when you like have 2 glasses of Prosecco?
Yeah, I had like 4. Like, panicked.
But you know, like that perfect part of buzz where you are like, I'm the funniest comedian. I need to get paid to do this. This is, we were in Mexico the other week and it was my friend's last night. She had to leave a day early, but we were sitting in this cabana and everybody kept like trickling over to us. And we were the comedic relief for like an hour and a half. We were just like, we were sexually harassing the boys, making fun of each other, like doing everything. And I was like, all right, guys, I gotta go to sleep. And I went up to bed and I texted my friend and I was like, I think that was the best set of our lives. And she was like, no, for real. Like I was like, yeah, I think that was like really like we had a crowd around us.
Obsessed.
I mean, you could have just given me a microphone and an HBO camera and I would have been like, this is my set.
Go.
I'm good.
Yeah, it was funny. I did think of you that day. I was like, oh man, I am really I'm on it.
That's great.
I was like, come like me.
That's why I do it. If you're ever wondering, like in this last week,
so do you like me? Check yes or no.
Yes or no. Circle and send it back to me.
Also, I won a game, which was like, we had to answer 16 questions, and then like you had to pick like him or her. It was the only game we played, thank goodness. And I really appreciate that. It moved really fast. But yeah, I won the game. And so I got 14 out of 16 right.
Okay.
So that was great. Good. So then I got obviously an applause. So on top of how the day was going, it was a journey. It was like,
you now get it. What did you feel like after that applause? Did you bow?
No, I just
See,
like
we need to work towards that.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there. We had to do the scenes for these managers and agents the other week. And like the first, like before you go in the room, I'm just pacing. Like you're pacing and all of the actors outside are pacing and they're like
walking by each other.
Yeah, no, for real. It's dead ass like that.
Yeah.
And my reader, every day we did like a high five. And I was like, okay, we got to stick with this high five. This is the boy who said that I was 28. And you get in there, and as soon as you get in there, it's like gone. And then you leave, and you're like, this is the best feeling I've ever had in my life. And that's why
throw up.
It's like doing drugs. It's like, this is what I think that's like, where you just are like, this is why I do this for these 5 minutes afterwards, where I'm like, I'm the fucking best.
I could probably do it on drugs. That's like when I'm my best self, like a little bit of mushrooms in the woods. I'm like, how did I get here? I'm amazing. I took so many right turns to get this life.
In
like
the woods?
Yeah, love it.
Oh my God. Think about a place I'd be so afraid to do mushrooms would be in the woods.
Oh my God. One day I totally just like ditched Kyle. We're really on a tangent today.
That's okay.
Just for the listeners, I kind of just woke up. I went to bed like hours ago. So we're just doing our best here.
Fine. There's also not a lot to talk about with Bravo, so
great.
Stay tuned.
This is gonna be a long day. I better eat a gummy. But no, we were in the woods camping, and Kyle was like in his feels in a different way with the mushrooms, and I was like, you're bringing down the vibe, and I just left. I was like, I'm gonna go.
And you
explore.
walked in the woods?
Yeah, I mean, it was on a campground. It's not like we're just like posted up in the middle of the woods. So I mean, kind of, but
that's the anxiety that gives me. The anxiety that mushrooms give me, like no.
All right. Well,
anywho,
what are we chatting about today? You did the outline this week.
I did, and let me tell you, it's speaking of mushrooms. Have you been seeing everything that's been going on with Justin Bieber?
Okay, so I Googled this a little bit yesterday, and I even felt bad kind of Googling it. My thought truly was, of course, like he was too famous, too young. I mean, I obviously have no facts about what's going on, but like mostly my heart just breaks. Like I'm not finding, you know, when like this was going down with Britney and like years ago, or Lindsay Lohan, and there was like this almost like excited. There was like people were like excited to see the downfall as we are, and we've talked about this before with this one. And I think I probably just feel this about any child fame at that young. I feel mostly just really sad. Like my heart kind of breaks for him and his family and Haley and that baby. Like it feels like he's already done this lap before and was able to come out of it. I guess I'm concerned, can you come out of it again? Like, can he recover from whatever this is again?
Do you know what? So, God, I hope so.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, people keep speculating online that this has to do with Selena Gomez's
oh my God,
album.
Stop.
And I think if people were a little smarter, they would see that these Diddy allegations started about 4 or 5 months ago.
And that's
which
all
is
coinciding.
More likely to me about what might be going on.
I don't think he's thinking about Selena Gomez. I think we need to like give up this narrative. This is crazy. That would be like someone saying to me, like, you can't move on from your high school boyfriend. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Like, yeah.
Even if like, you know, and in Selena's new album, she says that he called her like 23 times on her wedding day, blah, 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 whatever. Do we know if that's true? I don't know. Also,
she's not married.
I'm sorry. So Justin called Selena on his wedding day.
I was like, wait, what? This is already fact checked.
I know. She's not married. So with her new album coming out, there's a lot of rumors and things going on and people talking about him. And I'm the same. Like, I just feel you just see a little boy in there.
Yeah.
And it's scary. And again, my heart breaks for him too. I
went down a rabbit hole of his Instagram yesterday.
I know. It looks chaotic. It looks worrisome to me.
It's too much money. It's too much attention. Like, I don't know how we ever stop that, but there needs to be like something.
Yeah. And then speaking of Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco did this like incredible interview. Did we talk about it last week?
No, we haven't, but I would love to talk about it because, let's talk about it.
It's so funny because I did a TikTok on this and my TikTok blew up in my baby little TikTok land, where Benny Blanco's out here and people are saying, like, people have said so much trash about Benny Blanco based on the way he looks and basically how Selena Gomez is, you know, what's the word? Like, you know, he's pitching up. What is it? What do they say? He's pitching up.
Oh, like she's settling or something?
Not settling, but like, that he's out
of his league or whatever. Okay.
Thank you. There's something about batting.
Like
batting up?
Batting? I don't know. Whatever. Okay. I'm not a sports analogy girl.
Anyway.
Where's West when you need them?
Out kicking is covered. Thanks, Brock. Jinx. And you watch Benny Blanco on this interview with Jay Shetty talking about what Selena Gomez needs as a woman. And every woman is like, I get it. This guy knows his feelings, has been in therapy, knows all about how to treat a woman and how to communicate with a woman. And Selena's just sitting there like smiling, like, yeah, this is why. We get it.
Can I tell you something? I hope he doesn't hear this. Actually, I've already told him. There were things about that interview that kind of reminded me of Kyle. Like, he is so in tune. How much credit am I down to give him right now?
It's okay. We can
cut it.
Yeah, we can pretend like we never said this.
He doesn't listen to this anyway.
No.
But he's so good at, like, when I'm going one direction, he's not ever down to fight. He's not down for the fight. Like,
no,
he's like, let's settle. He's like, I will never win. Like, I'm not trying to win. We are on the same team. Like,
oh my God.
It makes more sense for me to, like, say I'm sorry and we keep it moving. Like,
yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you're right. It does make more sense to do that.
But
and obviously he's not as, like, he hasn't been in therapy as long as him, and he's not quite as evolved as, I mean, Benny Blanco was, like, really showing men how to do it. But there were definitely things that I was like, this is some of the reasons that I am so in love with Kyle.
Clip that.
No, don't clip that. It just didn't seem like so crazy to me. Like, it was like where some of the comments I was reading, it was like this, and I was like, wait, do y'all not have any of this? Like, really
It's so funny you said the team thing, because I'll never forget the first time Meek said, I'm not trying to fight you. Yeah. I'm not trying to fight you. And he said, we're on the same team. And he always refers, when we, like, have something to do, or if we're making a big purchase, or if we're doing XYZ, he always says we. And he never talks about I. And that threw me the first time. I remember, like, smirking, like, yeah, we are gonna buy a house. We are, like, yeah. And who is we? And it's like these simple things. And I think for being with men who know how to talk about their feelings, we know the benefit of that in a relationship, that it changed how I look at relationships forever.
Yeah. But not too many feelings. Not too much chatting.
Oh, I have every feeling. This is Meek's favorite thing to say. He always says, your feelings go like this, up and down, and mine are more like this. More like a heartbeat. Heartbeat. Anyhow, have you been watching? I'm excited for Selena. I loved Benny Blanco before people had things to say. People still also think that, like, Benny Blanco is Selena's fiance, without realizing that Benny Blanco is one of, like, the most awarded music producers on the planet. Like, if you
every bop from, like, the 2010s, basically,
literally, and even be like from now until then. And you think about that, he's been producing music since he was like 18 years old.
I know. I went down his Wikipedia page the other day.
It's so he's someone, like, there was this TikTok. I wish you would get on TikTok. It's like Reddit on social media.
I think it's just having another thing that is, like, stressing me out. Like, another reason to look at my screen.
All right. Well, I'll respect that for now. He was doing this. There's this guy who has this TV show about, like, going behind the music, and Benny Blanco, like, brings his laptop to talk about all of the beats that he's made and produced and the sounds that he's produced. He basically, he was talking about Kesha's one song, the TikTok song, and how all of the verse is just DJ turn it up.
Oh, I saw
I had to come up with that, and there wasn't enough time, so I just did it in different variations, and that's what the entire chorus is, or the bridge, whatever. I don't know how it is, but I'm like, this is insane. Like, and hearing him talk about the way he makes music. People who make music are, like,
it's wild.
So like, their intelligence,
like aliens,
is so beyond. Anyhow, are you watching White Lotus?
I am.
Are you caught up?
Yeah.
Have you heard the conspiracy theories?
Kyle told me a bunch the other day.
What do you think of this season compared to others?
I think that I feel the same about it that I felt about season 1. Season 2 I thought was great, but I do feel, this is a hot take, and I feel like I've talked about this with a few people just in real life. I feel like every time I watch an episode, I'm like, I've gone away with, I have nothing new. I feel like I'm not, like, I think I'm watching it, and it's like, it's not that I'm not enjoying it. Like, I like the way that the way it's shot and the music and all of that, I really enjoy. But like, I'm not here for the plot, I guess. Like, I feel like I'm here for the cultural phenomenon that it is. Like, people are like obsessed going into theories, and I'm like, you're theorizing.
That? I'm not here for the plot of the Mike White Lotus.
But it's just like every episode is more of the same. I feel like until the end, and it's like people can put all the theories, I guess, are kind of what makes it fun.
But this is like what Mike, like, I kept thinking, like, what happens in,
I almost feel like I'm not allowed to not like it too.
Oh, that's fair, because it is so in the zeitgeist.
Yes, like I'm like nervous to even say anything. Someone's going to be like, "You're an idiot. That's why you don't get it." Like,
right?
Someone's going to like come for my intelligence because I'm not.
But it's like that's the thing about Mike White's writing is so interesting. It's like you almost just have to trust that he's going to take us there,
and I do. That's why I keep watching.
Right, and I kind of feel the same things that you just said, but I'm so trusting in him, Mike White, that like, I'm like, we're going to get there. Episode 8 will pay off. It's going to be 90 minutes, and you're hoping that it will all come around. I do think season 2 had more, you felt more twists and turns, or yeah, I just rewatched season 1, and I think season 1 was so good because I really don't think we've ever seen anything on TV like this. I've said that before, and I'll say it again. Like, his writing and what he's doing and the way that he's able to put so much nuance and so much, there's always like so many hints and like tricks, and you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Which is what I think just makes him so interesting. I'm going to manifest that one day I'm going to be in a Mike White production.
Love that.
I do love watching all the scenes of Thailand. That's been fun. Just to see and kind of, reminisce on that part of it, which, whatever. Apparently Thailand's now going to.
Yeah, they just had a really bad earthquake.
I know.
7.7.
I know, it was insane. Did you see that? Like the water splashing off of the hotel and stuff?
Yeah. Kyle and I were saying yesterday, like, oh, God, like, are we, like, let's just get I feel like we're waiting ducks or something, because other places have had really big earthquakes in the last several years. And our big one hasn't been, I don't even want to talk about this. Let's move on. I'm knocking on all the wood right now.
Yeah, why? New York had that one last summer. It was the funniest thing to watch your husband and friend that were in my apartment be like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Well, that was an earthquake." Anyhow. Craig was on Watch What Happens Live and is dating someone.
Did he say how long they were dating? For some reason, I have it in my head as 4 months, and I'm like, did I make that up?
Yeah,
I might. So. Oh, I made that up. Okay.
He said they're not exclusive, but that they're just dating.
She was in the audience.
Yeah, that's what we saw on
exclusive to me.
Yeah, I mean, also, I guess they just haven't put a label on it.
Yeah, how come people aren't coming for him though?
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
people are really. There's like a few Bravo accounts that are really like hateful towards Paige.
Yeah,
I'm like, who is
haters always talk.
I also started to wonder. I was like, are you doing this for the attention? Like, are these even your thoughts? Like some of these accounts, or is it just a way to get a lot of engagement?
I mean, look, people do it.
I know, and I was like, I guess that I sort of can respect a little more than actually coming for Paige at so many of these trivial things. And it's like people were taking this breakup so seriously and taking sides. It's like it was not that 3 years is nothing, but it's 3 years. She's only 32
married,
years old.
They don't have
like
kids.
they didn't even live together.
No.
And I'm like, what? They weren't engaged. So I feel like people are taking it a little more seriously than I think.
What do you think about everything Craig was saying on the reunion about their relationship? The way that
what specifically?
The way that he's like, my stuff just showed up. I bought her a ring. She said that she wanted to get married at BravoCon. She
said that as a joke, I think. Like,
no
people
kidding.
Are like, yeah, like I think she said it like sarcastically. And also, I don't even think if they did it at BravoCon, I know this from Keeping Up with the Kardashians. It's not. I don't think it would count in their state.
Of course, it's just a joke.
Right? It's a joke.
Paige would never, ever, 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 ever in a million years get married at BravoCon. Like, let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
I just think, and him saying, I don't believe that he bought a ring.
Neither does Paige.
I just he went really hard at the reunion on Paige, and I get it, he's scorned.
I didn't like what he said on, I think it was on Watch What Happens Live, when he's like, and I encourage America. Did you remember that? Did you see the Watch What Happens Live?
And Andy goes, oh,
America.
You encourage America. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like, Craig, what are you talking about?
What this breakup has really shown me is just how different these men in the South really are. Like, I think we knew that, and we knew that there's a different culture down there, but I think because they were on this Bravo show and they were in this world of mostly women, that they would have almost let some of these traditional values go, or would it like be able to overlook them. But ultimately, that's who these men are.
Craig's from Delaware.
I know, but I guess because he's been down south since college, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it just is. Craig's it's so like when seeing the photos, and like the girlfriend is gorgeous, like his new girlfriend or whatever, but she's younger. She's a blonde. She's from the South. Like, that to me makes so much more sense than Paige. I think even Craig would say, and he probably has said, like, I don't think he ever pictured himself with someone more powerful than him, frankly.
Yeah, he said that in the last episode. He said, I never imagined that I'd have to be the complete, or not the one who took the back seat in my relationship.
Which is also just a problem. Like, that statement in itself, I have a problem with.
It's because she's a woman. I mean, like, that's why.
So you just assumed you were going to date someone who had less important shit going on? I don't even like that mindset.
No. And that's why Paige left.
Yeah.
That's why Paige
I'm like mad for I'm so Paige on this
and
one.
Same.
This is,
and honestly, I still will regret and wish I could take it out of the universe when I said that I thought Paige was flying too close to the sun. Because I'm wrong. I'm lying. That's not it. She had to put up with a little boy for a long time.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's almost having his temper tantrum right now. And it's not cute.
I think too, for you, I mean, I don't know factually, but just anecdotally, I think living in these bigger cities.
Oh, yeah.
It's so much more normal for it to go one way, for the woman to be the breadwinner, or just have more shit going on, or equal shit going on, you know?
Right. And that, for me, I always said this, like, the opportunities that you have living in a big city are opportunities I would have never had if I stayed in Philadelphia, in my opinion. And it's also, I mean, New York.
But I think even Philly is still, like, I don't know. I see a lot of my friends and family, and I feel like Philly offers the kind of the same thing.
But do you think you're like,
the same exposure to it?
I feel like in New York, though, the exposure is different in a sense that just moving to New York, your salary increases like 30% than it would in Philly.
Yeah.
And you're around wealth in a way that I've never been around. And
okay, that part.
It's not even like on purpose.
Yeah.
You know, like any restaurant you go, like you have to have a certain standard of living when you live in New York because of how expensive it is.
Yeah.
And I assume it's probably similar in SF that like the wealth that you just so happen to see on the streets and people walking around, it's like, it's unlike anything I've ever seen.
More billionaires in
right.
like a given area than anywhere in the world.
Right. And
that is so much money.
But that's what, and I think too, there's like, even with opportunities for what Paige wants to do, it's here in New York or out in LA. And Charleston could never be that.
No.
Anyway, I don't know what
I'm like actually I feel pretty exhausted. Like I feel good on not talking about Paige and Craig anymore. Like this was a relationship that needed to end. We're seeing that on Summer House. We already saw snippets of Southern Charm. Like when the breakup was announced, yes, it was a shock. Seeing it now, like seeing the summer,
not a shock to me.
Not a shock, not a shock to you. But now it feels so like, yeah, of course they broke up. Like they had a time, they improved each other's lives for a moment, for whatever, and now let's all move on. I want to move on.
Did you see Paige's Tresemme partnership?
Yes.
It was great.
Yeah, it reminded me how dull my hair is. I was like, I had gloss.
I need you to get a bob.
No, like, I'm not tall enough or skinny enough.
You absolutely are, and you have the skinniest neck and the skinniest cheekbones. You need to get a bob. You need to get a straight cut bob.
I think Kyle would divorce me.
No, he wouldn't. That was weird. I forgot he's your husband. No, okay. Yeah, I really think you need to get like a Kendall Jenner bob. You could pull it off in a freaking heartbeat. It would look so good, and you could gloss it up.
Sometimes I think you think too highly of me, but that's a big statement for a bob.
You could so do it. Your facial structures. Okay, I'll stop. What else happened at the reunion? We talked about the Southern Charm reunion.
I mean, I will say I loved seeing everyone's reaction to Madison pregnant, especially Austin.
I loved when they did that montage of Austin and Madison's friendship and how far they've come. Yeah. That, for me, they could almost have their own show and I would watch it. Because there's there's like this camaraderie, and it's not like that. If I was Brett, I wouldn't be threatened by that.
No.
It's so bantery in a fun way that, you know, I remember when they used to do the after shows for Below Deck and things like that. Mm-hmm. I would love to see them on something like that. I would watch it. I would love it. But what I'm sick of hearing, and what I even tuned out listening to, was Venita and JT.
I can't. Do you think they're bringing Venita back? Something tells me Bravo's going to.
You think?
Yeah, I think just because they're going to run out of cast members. Although I would imagine people in Southern Charm are so thirsty to be on the show in a way that, like, maybe New York isn't as thirsty to be on Summer House. Like, I went down a Reddit thread the other day about how many people have been asked to be on Summer House and how often people turn it down.
Really?
Whereas I don't think that that's happening in Southern Charm. Like, I think if given the opportunity, a lot of those, especially like young women, would be on that show. And guys, 100%, both of them.
I would love for Sally to be more of a main character. I really like her. I'd love to follow more with Molly. Mm-hmm. Venita just screams thirsty.
Oh my gosh. Even the comments on Instagram and stuff, it's so try hard.
Yeah.
And with Molly, like, Sally can stay, bring the drama. Molly, I would like to stay just like real relatable I don't need her to have a lot of drama following her.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need her to have all these little fights and things. I just need her on the show for like a nice balance.
Right. I mean, obviously it was revealed that her and Shep hooked up after the show.
Yeah, I don't love that for her, but I've said that. Yeah. I said that last week. I don't like that everyone's like rooting it on either. I think that's so strange. Like, hey, here's this total fuckboy that is fucked over everyone else. You are so wonderful. You should be together.
Right.
What?
Right.
Like, can you imagine your friend telling you to go hook up with Shep and they think that's a good idea? I'm like, I need a new friend.
It's good for Shep. It's not good for Molly. Like, that's what they're saying. It's
New
good
friends.
for you, Shep, but it's not good for Molly.
Taylor was the only one, which I guess makes sense because she's his ex, but she was the only one that was like, I think Molly can do better. It's like, yeah, you
She
think
can.
she can?
She absolutely can.
Yeah.
I
think that's really
talk
it.
about? Yeah.
Well, Beverly Hills reunion. I just watched that this morning.
Yeah. What did you think? Wait, did you know that was the newest news to me that Erika's song was in the Oscar-nominated film Honora?
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I didn't see that movie though.
Shocker. No, I haven't seen it yet either. I need to. Yeah, that was interesting. I was like, yeah, get it, girl. We started straight in with Dorit.
Yeah, we did.
We started straight in with Dorit and how everyone loved that she was a smoker. It made her.
I don't know why it was such a big deal.
I mean, they're all like Kathy Hilton's a smoker. Like, let's not. I'm sure. Oh, there's like pictures. Her and Kris Jenner smoke. I'm pretty sure.
This is fun.
I know, but anywho, I thought that was interesting that everybody was like so on board, and she's like, "I'm a social smoker, and now I'm a stress smoker." I was like, "I get it." What did you think of PK's statement?
I think it's going to get really, really messy. That's what I think. I was almost, I feel like nervous for Dorit. Like, I think it's going to get really ugly. I really do. And
it seems angry.
As much as, you know, we've sort of enjoyed Dorit in a different way than we ever have this season. When she did start talking about PK as a father and that drinking, that did like make me kind of like, oh, like kind of tense up a little bit. Like, how is this going to end up playing out once the season's over and with next season? And how are the other people going to speak about it? And what's going to go on like online? Like, it just felt like maybe she opened a can of worms that I don't know if she's going to be able to handle. And then she's going to be on the defense pretty hard for the next couple months. Like, I feel like she made her life harder by doing that.
It seemed to me that she was doing all of this for the storyline to keep her paycheck coming.
Yes.
The thing that I found so interesting is the way that she talks about her divorce and relationship with PK is it's almost like scripted, robotic. She has not cried on screen once the entire time talking about her marriage. And then when asked if she's still in love with him, she said, yeah, he's my soulmate. There wasn't even a tear. There wasn't a crack of the voice. It's very like matter of fact.
When I'm so happy you brought this up, because when he asked her about like, are you still in love with him? And she answered, my initial thought was, oh my God, she's lying. Like, she's lying. She's doing this for the plot. Speaking of the plot, she's doing it for the plot.
Right. Yeah.
I did not believe it for one moment. And I feel like there was I think they even cut to Kyle, and you could tell Kyle's just looking ahead. And I think even she was like, and Erika was like, it felt like everyone was like, you're bullshitting us, but okay, we get it. We know why you're doing it. It's not that they even get it, but like, they knew they knew she was lying, and they knew why she was lying. And it was to keep that diamond.
For sure. And it's also, if it were to come out that Dorit was having an affair with someone or is like has a boyfriend, that wouldn't surprise me. There's something very...
I don't think she does though.
I'm just saying if it did, I would be like, oh, how robotic she is so confusing to me. It's so confusing.
And if you think back though, she's kind of always been like that.
That's exactly what
she's never been like kind of. She's never given like chill. I'm just like here. I'm down to be authentic vibes.
Even when the robbery happened and she was talking about her, she just seems very like, I'm aware a camera's there. This is when I hug. This is when you're supposed to cry. This is it all feels very just, I don't know.
And I think she's like that in life, though. Right. I don't even think it's just for the cameras. Like, I think this is who she is. And frankly, it looks really exhausting to be Dorit.
And it's also, I sit there and think about Kyle, because I don't think Kyle's like that. I think Kyle...
No, I don't either.
And I struggle how Kyle could be friends with her, because I think Kyle in real life is a real human with feelings and functioning and all that stuff, and not the not a character, whereas Dorit just seems like a complete full character of who she is. I did think it was interesting that Kyle said that she sent a text to Dorit which didn't make it to air. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did.
It's funny that wasn't talked about.
Yeah.
And then another opportunity where Dorit could have not said anything. It's like Sutton said, it looked like you were actively throwing your husband under the bus. And I don't usually side with Sutton, but that's exactly how it felt. Even with her talking about him being an alcoholic, I think if that is your husband, he deserves more respect than how openly and candidly she's talking about it. Even what she's implying when Andy asked her, is he still drinking?
I really think Dorit this season is in direct response to possibly not being on the show. So she was going to go all in. She knew what was, there was even like when I think as soon as the reunion started, didn't her and Kyle talk about, like, Dorit said, well, you're close with the producer, so you knew I was getting my job back. Like, there was some conversation about that. Oh. And yeah, in the very beginning, I wish I like watched it when I was like basically still sleeping, but I remember catching that. And so I really think that Dorit went into this season like, if I don't bring it all and say everything I need to say, no matter who gets thrown under the bus to save this diamond and that paycheck, I'm doing it. Well,
I'm sure she's saved because of it.
She is.
Yeah.
I wish Sutton wouldn't comment. Honestly, like, it's not that I don't disagree with Sutton on that. I just wish Sutton would say absolutely nothing about Dorit and her situation. They're not friends. They don't like each other. I just think stay out of it, Sutton.
And it's
also Sutton's situation was different. Like, she keeps trying to compare her divorce. She's getting a 6-figure check, like, monthly. Like, you divorced a different man than what Dorit is dealing with. And we're in a much different financial situation. Like, I just think that doing any kind of comparison with divorce and how you handled it and what you did is so unfair to the situation.
100%. If anything, why aren't you like the woman you said you were going to be about having her back and knowing what divorce is like?
I think Sutton's a pretentious asshole. That's what I think.
And there's a lot of information.
Her and Garcelle aren't talking.
Good. It makes me like Garcelle more, because after 100%. Last night's episode, I kind of was like, Garcelle, like, why do you fuck with her?
I don't know. They haven't talked since the reunion, according to reports online.
Wow.
And I was really happy to. I think maybe Garcelle was like, yeah, you're an asshole.
And you're
like a rich, snobby asshole.
And I think also Garcelle called Sutton out last night about what she was actually saying about Kyle, where Kyle not bringing Morgan onto the show was a chess move. And then Garcelle, I
don't know that I think it was a chess move, though. Do you?
Garcelle was fed up about that, called Sutton out, and then Sutton didn't like that. But do I think it was a chess move?
I don't know if I think it was a chess move. I get where Garcelle's coming from, and I've preached it all season and last season. I just don't know if it was like this super calculated move. I think Morgan was like, yo, this is too much. And so she had to pull back. I think it was honestly that simple. I don't think it was more than that. And it is a lot. Like, the Bravoverse is
intense.
And for someone who's not in that world and then just was in that world by proxy and already has, I think she's already opened about like anxiety struggles and stuff like that. And that's how her and Kyle really connected, and she's sober and all these things. Like, her life got her to a place of sobriety and was in this peaceful place, and then kind of ended up as Kyle's best friend or whatever, and was thrown into this, this Bravo world. And I truly, if you're not looking for that and that just happens to you, that would be intense.
And I also, Garcelle saying that Kyle doesn't share enough is probably the craziest thing I've ever heard coming from her. And it was the first time where Kyle was defending herself and I was like, you're right. Like okay, this one baby piece of your life that you don't want to be on. Meanwhile, like we can talk about every paparazzi shoot that your ex-husband's been in. Your kids are on the show. You're talking about your divorce of 25 years or your separation of 25 years. Sorry, but Kyle has a point. Kyle has a point that like,
for someone who doesn't usually side with Kyle, I kind of was like, oh, she does have a point.
And asking more from her. And then also how Kyle said Garcelle was coming for her on that boat when Sutton was having the conversation with the gals. Mm-hmm. And there is Jennifer Tilly and Garcelle there not saying anything. And Garcelle points to Kyle and says she wants you to speak up. Like, what?
That was bizarre. And we talked about this that was a really bizarre moment from Garcelle. That whole thing was super strange. I feel like I'm
turning on Garcelle a little, and I don't like that.
Well, I don't think we're alone in that. And I feel like she was even feeling that a little bit. I'm not saying that's why she left. I'm sure there's plenty of reasons why she decided not to do the show. But I do think that she was feeling that. And I think maybe I'd be curious to know if she was almost feeling like, what am I doing with this? Like,
there was this
what
moment.
Am I doing with Sutton? Why am I I feel like it was bringing the worst out in Garcelle, and that's why she left ultimately. Like she was starting to not like who she was seeing on TV.
That's fair. And the way that everyone was coming at her at the end, I didn't like how she was just sitting there being like, okay.
She was so done.
Yeah. And if you can't handle that, then you're not this isn't going to be for, like if you can't handle that heat during that moment. But I think it's more so to your point now that I'm looking at it from that point. It's I don't think she does things this way. And I know there's a clip where she said, everybody's so fake. And to me, Garcelle doesn't give the vibe of wanting to hang out with the fake ones.
I think she also had said at one point, like she'll reevaluate when she first signed on, she'll reevaluate in, 5 years or whatever, see where she's at. And look, the show's done great for her. Like now she has this production company and she's producing movies and she's doing a lot. So
she's on Survival of the Thickest with Michelle Buteau. I just saw her.
Yeah. So she got what she needed from the show and it's time to move on. But I was kind of happy to see that her and Sutton haven't spoke.
Yeah. I think we're going to get into more on next week's reunion where they're going to get into the thick of it with Sutton. And we'll see from there.
I'm a little nervous for Dorit, to be honest. I don't know. I think her talking about her husband in the way that she did is going to really, really, really backfire. And
it's almost like Kyle was giving her eyes like, oh shit. Oh shit. And she thinks she's securing a paycheck when really, you should watch your P's and Q's until that divorce is settled.
And Dorit is someone who cares so deeply about what the public thinks of her. That's, I think, why she's so robotic. That getting all of the love this season, I think she went into the reunion with that energy. And I don't think it's going to bode well for her. It's just like, what we've said about flying too close to the sun. I think that's also why I feel like she's enjoyed this love that she's gotten this season in a way that not all the other women, I think everyone would enjoy it, but I think Dorit has enjoyed it. Because she's never really got it. It's almost like
she's doubling down, too.
Yes. I think she's responding. I think she's moving in response to that love. Like, I don't even know if she's moving in ways that she agrees with, but she's like, oh, but the fans love it.
And she even said, oh, PK loves this life. Like, don't let him fool you. He loves all of this too.
Which means they've discussed it.
Yep. That's so crazy to think about.
Can you imagine bed talk? And they're like, oh my God, look at all the likes I got. Look how loved we are. PK people love this scene. Oh my God.
Ew,
but I think that was happening. I think that 100% was happening.
Yeah.
I think that it fueled their marriage for a few years there.
That's crazy. I don't ever want that. And it's so crazy. This is going back to the beginning, but people like 2 people who were actors in a family. When I was there at this class, people were like, "Oh, is your husband an actor?" I'm like, "Are you insane? Do you think I could date someone else who would want to be in the limelight the same way I do?" That immediately puts a competition in your relationship, no matter what. I can't imagine what that would be like to sustain if that's what is happening. But we'll get a part 2, hopefully not a part 3. I don't think we need part 3s of these anymore.
I don't think so.
Lady Gaga tickets went on sale. If you know, you know. I will be going and I'll report back in August. Can't wait. And we'll be back next week with an all new episode of Bonded by Bravo. If you don't already,
so fast. Are we
follow
done?
us. We're done. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Bonded by Bravo Pod, and listen wherever you find your podcast. Also, you can watch full episodes on YouTube. And guys, we have merch. Please buy our merch. Tag us in your merch. Show us that you got your merch. We want to see it. We have hats. We're getting t-shirts. We have mugs. We have beanies. We have crew necks and hoodies. So bye, friends. We'll be back next week, next Thursday, with an all-new episode. See you then.